Calgary's Friday Night Football. We are live at Ivor Stadium and here in Hamilton. Typical July night in southern Ontario. Hot, muggy, slight breeze out of the south. If anything, it's a slight advantage for the hometown Ticats as they're accustomed to practicing under these conditions. 2 years ago, Greg Marshall came from McMaster University. He took over a 1-17 football team, went 9-8-1, and was named the CFL's Coach of the Year. Last year, Hamilton was 5-13. This year, he was fired after the first 4 games. The Ticats at 0-4. Yesterday, I visited with Greg Marshall at his home in suburban Hamilton. You're the first CFL coach that came directly from Canadian University football. This was more than a Hamilton story. It was a national story. Did you feel extra pressure?
Well, you know, I put a lot of pressure on myself to begin with. I'm very competitive. So I knew there was, you know, some pressure that, you know, for other Canadian coaches to get an opportunity, I needed to do well. And I felt that I was representing, you know, a lot of good quality Canadian coaches. But like I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself. You
mentioned other Canadian coaches. Do you worry what's happened to you here will have a negative effect on other Canadian coaches getting a chance to go directly from a Canadian university to a head coaching job in the
Well, I have given it some thought, but you know what, I think that, and I hope that every Canadian coach will be evaluated and given consideration based on their own merit. And there are some great quality coaches that we have in Canadian University right now. And I mean, I hope that you know, someone as fortunate as I was, that they'll have an owner like Mr. Young who will give a Canadian coach an opportunity again.
Did you start maybe with a strike against you coming from a Canadian university? I mean, you're dealing with veteran players, veterans that have gone to large American universities. Was there some skepticism there? They're thinking, who's this guy telling us what to do?
Yeah.
In other words, did you have to prove yourself?
Yeah, I think I did. And maybe I tried a little bit too hard initially to try to prove myself. And that was the difficult part. You know, I remember, you know, when I speak to our football team as this year in training camp, I'm just speaking to my players. Back then, I didn't know them. It's very difficult to talk to people and to players that you don't have a relationship with. And I just felt that it took some time. But I think if you talk to the players that were there my first year and are still on the football team now, they would say that, you know, I developed, that I learned, and that I was able to adapt.
How tough was it for you with what you're leaving behind? The players, the relationships?
Yeah, it was very difficult. And, you know, you go through a lot of different emotions, you know, in this process. And, you know, you're first angry and, you know, denying it, and, you know, and then you kind of go through the sadness. When I had to go into our coach's room and say that I was being released, when I had to go to talk to our team and look at them and look at their eyes and say, you know, guys, I won't be here, you know, in the next game this Friday. That was difficult. That was hard. I care a lot about the players we have on our football team. I care.
Expectations. Did management tell you at the beginning of the season you better start quickly?
No, they didn't. But, you know, I'm bright enough to know that we needed to start out well, and that after what happened last year, I realized that we needed to get out of the gates pretty quick. And we had a great training camp. We played great in the exhibition games, and, you know, we didn't come together as quickly in the regular season as I thought we could. I still believe it is a very good football team. I believe that my legacy will be how this team plays throughout the rest of the year.
0-4. Was the firing premature?
Well, obviously, I feel that we were very close to turning it around. You know, if we were getting blown out, If the scores were, 38-0 and the team wasn't competitive, I'd understand it. Really, I don't have to like it, the decision, and I don't. But I understand the reasoning behind it, and I understand that in professional sport that sometimes happens.
Will you stay in football?
Yeah, absolutely. I still have a passion for the game, whether it's professional or university or high school. Somehow, some way, I'll be coaching football again.
You mentioned universities. Would you go back to where you started at Western? You mentioned the CFL. Would you consider going back to the CFL, maybe not even as a head coach?
I would consider going back, to the CFL. I would go back. One thing I missed the last couple of years was coaching a group of players and having that relationship with your offensive linemen or your running backs, the position groups that you were coaching. As a head coach, you get so far away from that sometimes. But the one thing I know is that in order to do well, you have to feel passionate about something that you're doing. And it's not easy to start with a new team and to develop that again. I have that, with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I fortunately had that at Western and at McMaster. So there are a lot of opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, he was as classy when he was fired as when he was hired, and that says an awful lot about Greg Marshall, the man. Coming up at halftime, I'll speak with the Hamilton General Manager, Rob Katz. Who's in charge here? Who actually fired Greg Marshall? I am told owner Bob Young did not make the decision. And if you fire a coach going 0-4, the offense and the new stars aren't performing, doesn't the offensive coordinator Joe Paupau have to share some of the blame? That's the Hamilton General Manager, Rob Katz, coming up at halftime. On this Friday night, you're watching Wendy's Friday Night Football live from Hamilton.
Thanks, Brian. Time now to introduce you to the starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. And there they are. Henry Burris coming off that big win in his old stomping grounds in Regina. Jason Moss back at the controls for the Ticats.
the attitude, and he can change the accountability. That defense is giving up 5.2 yards per carry. They're going up against Joffrey Reynolds, who averages 7.6 yards per carry, best in the league. Joffrey simply knifed through a solid Saskatchewan defense, making them look like they're standing in mud. And I'm telling you, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have got their work cut out for him. James Cotton, heck, he's only got one hand. Last week, he's missing tackles because he can't wrap up. The Hamilton Tiger Cats across the board need some accountability. And in my opinion, this is one of the biggest reasons why, and I'll go back to Winnipeg because you hear this a lot from Winnipeg right now, accountability. Every one of those Hamilton Tiger Cats will need to step up, and certainly that defense playing against Joffrey Reynolds.
Maybe?
Maybe.
That's the best you can do. I built you up. I said, yeah. The people want to hear.
So you want a prediction? Calgary by 3. There you go.
Oh, okay. I have it, but maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Thank you, Dave, and good evening, Canada. Welcome to Wendy's Friday Night Football from Iverwin Stadium, which is kind of like a sauna here tonight. It is hot, it is steamy, 30 degrees Celsius, and you could probably add a few more degrees on field. The Humidex 37 degrees. The forecast is hazy here tonight in the Steel Town. Tom Higgins, the Calgary Stampeders, very well could be 4-0. They are 3-1, and remember a couple of weeks ago escaped a squeaker over those Hamilton Tiger Cats when they were in McMahon Stadium. On the other side, no more martial law. The little general is back.
Well, you know, they talk about accountability with Ronnie back, and I know that he's talked to the players and has said, look, we got to have some fun. Sometimes that's easier than said when you're 0-4. And he also said what I thought was a little strange, be on time. So if players were late, I'm a little surprised that that shows there has been some lack of discipline. But is this what Ronnie really wanted to do at this stage of life? I'm not so sure. He was asked to do it. He's going to fill a role. And I do honestly believe when he says it is interim, that is what it's going to be for him.
And another. Wes Cates takes the ball. Up the middle he goes, and he's stuffed at the 30. We bring on Henry Burris and the Calgary Stampeders. Here's the offense for the Stamps. Our starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast.
Well, Henry Burris has really been on a roll, and because of this terrific receiving core we showed you in the pregame show, 3 out of the 8 top receivers in the league are a part of this group. An offensive line that is only given up 4 sacks, tied for best in the league with the Montreal Alouettes. So this group is functioning at an extremely high level. They're not making mistakes, and they are making it very tough for defensive coordinators around the league.
Well, we're not going to bring the offense on just yet, or will we? They're bringing the kick team back here, and the Stampeders are going to make the Ticats redo it. And I mentioned Mark Myers in for Jamie Borum, the beleaguered kicker here, who's had some confidence problems, of course, has only made 9 of 15 field goals and some back spasms recently. Myers from Florida Atlantic has been in Rockledge, Florida, kicking and practicing, and got the call up this week, and now he is in a Ticat uniform. And again, the kicking game has been a big problem with the Ticats so far this year.
Yeah, it really has. Jamie Borum wasn't getting the job done. Pat Fleming is having a very underachieving year as their punter, averaging less than 33 yards a punt, 38 yards a punt rather, but a net 33. So the kicking team has been poor, along with a very sporadic offense.
Myers again to Cates. And the penalty works out, in fact, for the Stampeders, and on the return they gain an extra 10 or 11 yards. And here comes smiling Hank Burris, and he's had a lot of reason to smile lately.
Well, he has, because his offensive group is a well-oiled machine. Those are the numbers for Hank Burris through 4 games, and I can tell you what's been one of the unsung features of how well he has played. He has really used his feet well to buy himself some time. I mentioned earlier only 4 sacks given up. Well, he's a big reason why. He has moved around outside the pocket. He's given his receivers extra time to get open, and his game is really at an all-time high.
We'll watch how they establish the run game as well with Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield. Play action. And to Jermaine Copeland to midfield. And a first down immediately. Hank Burris comes out throwing.
Well, the Hamilton defense is really under some pressure tonight. The front 4 pretty good defensive ends in Cotton and Cheatwood, of course, the push up the pocket from Peterson and Adriano Belli. Bernard Cox, a defensive back, converted the linebacker. You'll see him drop into the safety and Wayne Shaw come up. In the secondary, well, they've made some mistakes. Calgary's seen that on film, and don't be surprised if you see the Stampeder offense use a lot of motion to confuse those defensive backs.
Reynolds stuffed in the backfield and just gets back maybe a half yard or so. Tim Cheatwood there to wrestle down Joffrey Reynolds.
And that's what the defensive line of Hamilton is going to have to do. Cheatwood coming from the outside. Watch how quickly he gets into the backfield. They're going to have to get that type of penetration as he comes back. No block on Cheatwood, and he comes in and makes the play.
So second down and 9 yards to go. Burris in the shotgun. Copeland to his left. Look out here. Burris avoids a tackle. Is hit but throws it away downfield. And a good rush this time from the men in black.
Well, that's a good start for Hamilton. I mean, you know, you get a quick first down and then you know, 2 and out. And that defensive line is going to have to put some pressure on Henry Burris. Cavis Reed, the defense coordinator, talked to me tonight in the parking lot before the game, and he said, gosh, if we don't get pressure on Burris, we're in big trouble.
Guess who's back? Line. Holmes dancing. Corey Holmes, there's a flag on the play, but brings it up to the 18-yard line. And they could not have asked Corey Holmes to come back any quicker as well, despite all of the coaching problems, the casualty of Greg Marshall, Jason Moss, of course, trying to get it into gear and the kicking things. Corey Holmes was expected to be a star for this team this year.
Well, he's going to do a lot of things so well.
Hamilton 24, after distance to goal, first down.
Not unlike he did in Saskatchewan a year ago. He's going to return kicks. He'll play a little running back. He'll catch the football. He had 54 receptions last year. I mean, he played all 18 games. He will not do that this year, but for the most part, he's a durable player, and he gives you a lot of weapons, a lot of ways to use him on offense.
Renard Cox, a holding call. Backs up the Ticats to their 10-yard line. Fakes the reverse. Josh Wanick out of the backfield, and another guy that they really have to establish here. He's had some injury problems, but the little ball of hate has not been at his best so far this year.
Well, he hasn't, and the offensive line really hasn't opened a lot of holes. There you see Jason Moss, and Ronick will start. He's only averaging 2.8 yards a carry, certainly the lowest of his career. Now, this supporting cast at the receiving core, I'm not so sure. These guys have to step up their game. I mean, the best receiver so far is Flick at 8.8 yards a catch. That just won't get it done. Offensive line has not done a bad job in protection there.
Kwame Cavill is into the lineup this week for them. Catch is made, and a first down for Terry Vaughn. Terry Vaughn's the leading Ticat receiver with 17 catches. That's 18 now on the season.
Yeah, only 11 times in his career has he been over 1,000 yards. And again, a good move. Tony Tiller, the extra defensive back, is in, but when Vaughn is in at the number 3 receiver, he's got a lot of room to work to the outside, and as technically sound as he is, that's a pretty good matchup for him.
Moving closer and closer to becoming the CFL's all-time reception leader. There's a pitch back to Moss, a little razzle-dazzle, but he could not connect with DJ Flick. Moss is incensed right now with the official who felt Moss felt there should have been a flag on the play. Jason Moss a little steamed. Interesting play there as they throw a little wrinkle at the Stampeders. They didn't do that 2 weeks ago.
No, and that's one of the things that they really have to do tonight. I think Joe Paopau's offense is pretty vanilla, pretty easy to read and understand if you're a defense. I think they have to throw some wrinkles and a few more things at the Calgary defense tonight.
2nd and 10 now. Moss, lots of time here. To the sideline, no one home again. And Moss was afforded a lot of protection, could not find a receiver.
And really, the Calgary defense with the extra defensive back in, Wes Lysak comes in the game, and they played a zone, and they absolutely shut down the Hamilton receiving corps. Jason Moss had nowhere to go, just had to throw that one away.
Moss and DJ Flick talking, so obviously he was looking for number 82. So that brings out the punter for the Ticats, Pat Fleming. Last in the Canadian Football League with the average on the kick, and there is Kenyon Rambo. He's back at his 44-yard line. Fleming, the line shot to Rambo. He's stopped in midfield, but good position, and there is a flag back at the Ticat 30. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Calgary Stampeders. A couple of weeks ago, squeaked one out last second field goal by Sandro DeAngelis to beat these Tiger Cats, who are looking for their first win of 2006. Boris over the top and picked off by Tay Cody. Cody has some room here. Tay Cody takes it to the 38-yard line.
Well, one thing the Stampeders haven't done this year is beat themselves in their bunch formation. A little play action here, and looking downfield, it simply overthrows the receiver, Wes Cates. I mean, that was a bad throw, and Tay Cody with the easy interception. That one just got away from Burris. Now, keep in mind, it is absolutely as humid as it can be tonight, and maybe, just maybe, there's perspiration, certainly from the center, snapping the ball back to the quarterback, because that one just sailed.
Moss hands off to Ronick. Butts heads up the middle with John Grace. Tay Cody with a pickoff, and now the Ticats try to strike first.
And the Calgary defense that they're going to face tonight, 3-4 alignment, Demetrius Maxey and Raheem Abdullah, terrific defensive ends, and an absolutely phenomenal linebacking course. Scott Coe, great young Canadian, comes up and does some great job on the blitzes. Brian Clark having a great year, and pretty young secondary, but this group has come together quite well.
2nd down, 5 yards to go. Calgary jumped. Were they drawn? And did Hamilton move first? Stampeders are saying it was the Ticats. The Ticats are saying it was the Stamps.
Well, and it's going to go against Hamilton. And when you talk about the troubles for a team, and there's just so many to document with Hamilton, but 49 penalties.
Procedure. Hamilton, 11 and 52, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
You know, 2 guys jumping offside, and 49 now their 50th penalty, actually 60th with the opening kickoff, but I mean, that's 7th in the league, and you just kill yourself with those kinds of things.
A lot of players have been saying they're kind of brain-dead penalties where these guys have been not thinking very much, coming to the line and making those offside calls and penalties on the big play. Now it's 2nd down and 10 yards to go. Moss, and here's Kwame Cavill. Kwame Cavill with his first reception of the season, a guy who has not been put into place in this Ticat offense yet.
Well, they need his speed because their average per reception is very, very low, and Kwame Cavill definitely can stretch a defense with his speed. Now from the outside, he works in. Calgary playing a lot of zone here in this first quarter, and it's up to the Hamilton receivers to find the soft spot. He did, and that's a good conversion on 2nd and long.
Cavill's also a deep threat. Remember, a couple of years ago, he was among the 4 receivers in Montreal, including Jermaine Copeland, who's now a Stamp, who went for 1,000 yards on the season. Ticats on the move again. Ronick bowling his way for a couple.
Well, you know, you talk about the Ticat receivers, Rod, and yes, they have had some guys who've been over 1,000. DJ Flick's done it 2 years in a row. So has Craig East the last 2 seasons in a row. But so far this year, I mean, their DJ Flick is their leading receiver in average at 8.8 yards a catch. I mean, for a guy who's got 4.2 speed, at some point in time, you've got to put a threat into this defense, because what's going to happen is if you keep throwing these short routes, defenses across the league are going to just squat down on you and say, hey, if you're not going to go deep, we're going to just jam you. And at some point in time, Jason Moss has got to air it out.
4 receivers right, Will. Moss go left. No, he doesn't. He goes right to Terry Vaughn. Vaughn with 2 receptions now, and again, moving closer to taking over as the all-time reception leader.
Well, Terry Vaughn's so dependable. I mean, when you go trip side and he's the 3rd guy in and he has so much field to work with, he can feel he works well against the zone right there. He works awfully well against man-to-man. And again, talk about consistency, Rod. 11 times over 1,000. 4 times with the Stampeders he did it. 6 in Edmonton and last year in Montreal, and he's hoping to get it his 12th year in Hamilton in 2006.
Well, maybe tonight he could even go over the top and break the record held by Darren Flutie, who coincidentally happens to be here tonight to see his old pal Danny McManus. And they're going to come up a little shy here. In fact, almost full yard shy.
And you know, knowing Ron Lancaster coming into this position as an interim head coach, taking over from a popular Greg Marshall, I think he wants to change the momentum and the identity of this team right away. I am not surprised at all that he'll gamble on 3rd down here.
Well, he has Ronick in the backfield. Moss can basically dive forward 2 and plunge forward if he stays low enough. See if he goes himself or gives to Ronick for that yard. Takes it off the left side. Rather surprising, and it works. It's something you don't see often on a 3rd down gamble.
No, I mean, they were overloaded to the wide side of the field, and this is a great call back because, look here, you really don't have to do much to seal that corner, and if it is sealed right off the bat, the option is to pitch. I mean, this was a great call on 3rd and 1. I love it to the outside. You know, Ronnie is I'm assuming, thinking Denny Crehan, the defensive coordinator of Edmonton, is thinking sneak right up the middle, and boy, that was a nice change of pace.
DJ Flick to the left of Jason Moss. Kamal Peterson to the right. 3 receivers to the right. In the red zone now are the Ticats. Looking for Vaughn. And the catch made by Craig Yeast. I'm not so sure he was the intended receiver. Let's take a look.
Well, this has been a nice drive that Jason Moss has put together. And, you know, offense, Rod, is so much about confidence and flow. Well, on this drive, they've made a lot of plays. They've got confidence. They've got nice flow. Joe Pau'Pau, his eyes in the sky this week. He's got the headset on up top, and maybe he's sending down some plays from up top.
2nd and 4, twin backs. with a victory. We'll
Well,
see if that
again,
happens.
you know, Matt Dunnigan talked about accountability, and it's going to be that to a new coach tonight.
Roddick in the backfield, Moss behind center. The shovel, a flag on the play, and it looks like the Stampeders may have gotten to Jason Moss a little too aggressively. We'll see what happens here.
You know, that's a tough play to run, that shovel play on the goal line, when you're expecting most defenses will blitz and come through gaps. I don't know. That's a tough call on the goal line.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. Calgary 29. Half the distance to goal. First down.
Well, Tony Tiller at the top of your screen there. Let's have a look. Here he is, the last man on the line of scrimmage, and the ball is gone. And there you see the hand to the face mask, and absolutely they're going to call that every time. Tony Tiller has done a nice job as the sixth defensive back in this scheme, but definitely that penalty cost his team.
Well, straightforward and nowhere to go. I was going to mention that you're probably not going to see the shovel again from down low like that, so Moss decided to take it himself. He'll get another crack.
Well, that's a play that Josh Roddick has run well, especially with Kerry Joseph in Ottawa last year, but that's, to me, that's not goal line offense.
Midfield.
That is so tough with blitzing, and, you know, defenses, when they're backed up on their own goal line, they slant, they try to take away gaps and let the linebacker shoot through. Well, that's just, I don't know, Joe. I didn't agree with that one.
Who was the head coach, of course, last year with Roddick
and used that play a lot, but I just don't think it's a goal line kind of offensive play.
Well, if they don't get in here, it's going to make it very interesting. This Calgary defense, known for its ability to hold. Second and goal now. Moss has the touchdown, but wait a second, there's another flag on the play.
Decline. Touchdown.
There it is, the first touchdown for the Ticats tonight. Ronnie Lancaster back at the helm.
Well, the interesting thing in short yardage, when you get on the outside shoulder here with these guys inside, what a perfect way to go for Jason Moss. Now, this is the second time in short yardage that they've gone to the outside, kind of against the norm, but with great results. You know, it's just that angle. Everything's angles, and I don't know whether that was an audible. I suspect it was something they'd seen on film, and that was a set play that they've put in their package for short yardage tonight.
Well, an impressive play. A big drive by the Ticats results in the first major here tonight on a steamy night in Hamilton. J.R. Ruffin is back for the Stampeders. Along with Marcus Howell, Myers sends him back to the 5-yard line. Ruffin trying to burst outside, and he does. Ruffin with a flag now on the 45-yard line. And already, I think tonight we've had a flag on almost every play.
Seems like it really slows the game down. Well, Henry Burris, what a start this year he has had in the first quarter. Traditionally a slow quarter offensively, but the last two first quarters, those are the numbers. 15 out of 18, 3 touchdown passes. He really has come out of the gate quickly with his offense. Tonight, though, a different story. Only 1 for 3 so far on 2 possessions. He will now have his 3rd possession of the first quarter, but boy, when you get your team off to a great start, it just seems to set the tone for the game, and his numbers are truly spectacular.
But the Stampeders, again, because of a penalty and a legal block on that return, sends it back to their 15-yard line where they will first scrimmage. And guess who's back in Hamilton? Guy who became a legend here, Danny McManus, on the sidelines. Will we see him tonight in his return to Iverwin Stadium? Maybe. The reverse to Copeland. Jermaine Copeland up near a first down, about 8 to 9 yards on the reverse.
Well, you know, Blackie, before the game, I went down to the end zone and had a nice long chat with Danny Mackey, and I've been good buddies for a long time, as he has been with so many people in this league. But you wouldn't believe the people that came up that just wanted to say hi. And we didn't really know them, but they wanted to shake hands and wish him good luck and thank him for the years in Hamilton. It was really kind of nice to watch.
You know what he said yesterday? You know, they were asking him if it's going to be emotional coming back, and he said, well, of course he's not starting. He said, you know what? No big deal. It's happened to me before I've come back. Hamilton's a special place. In fact, he said he's going to make his home back here someday. Second short yardage. Reynolds stacked up by the Cats. Adriano. Again, nylon flying here tonight. Another penalty. Burris had yardage and more.
And again, interesting, he too, like Jason Moss, went to the outside to pick up the first down in short yardage.
Five-yard penalty, first down.
So it's a moot point. Stampeders will continue to move the ball. Two-time coach of the year like Ron Lancaster. Tom Higgins with Edmonton in 03 and with the Stampeders 05, helping resurrect that football club last year. He gave his team a warning, though. They knew that these Cats could be dangerous here tonight. This guy always is. Joffrey Reynolds still on his feet. What a run by 21.
Well, and Joffrey Reynolds leads all backs in yardage, average rather per carry at 7.6, and he shows you why right here. Ragnar Cox to the outside has an opportunity to make the play, but he is just can't hang on right here. He's got him. He's got him. Yeah, no, he doesn't have him. And all of a sudden, to the outside, Joffrey Reynolds goes. He gets his team out of trouble. They pick up the third down gamble, and now they're off and running. But here, Cox had to move, and he's lucky he didn't get called for face masking as well.
Well, again, slippery tonight is Reynolds. The ball's a little slippery, too, on this hot, sticky night. Burris and company at the Ticat 50. Fakes a pitch and gives it inside. Reynolds again. Joffrey Reynolds, you talk about getting it done. Look at the yards per carry, 7.6, which leads the Canadian Football League.
Notice, though, that all the others on that list with high averages are quarterbacks. You look at Josh Ronick on the other side tonight. He's at 2.8. So Joffrey Reynolds, you look at, we talked about receivers in the pregame show and what a great group. But boy, what a dynamic back he is.
2nd and 5. Flag flies again. Copeland splits the middle.
And I think he jumped the gun.
It was on the far side of the field, right where Copeland was.
Yeah, it was a great pattern. Nice catch. I mean, there's certainly Jason Goss giving him lots of room, but I do believe Copeland did jump the gun. Sometimes when your number's called, you get a little excited.
This is Hamilton secondary.
Offside. Calgary number 80, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
This Ticat secondary last week gave up only 195 yards to the Montreal Alouettes.
Well, there's Copeland right there. I mean, he tries to time it perfectly, but he just jumps the gun, kind of a Ray Elgard-ish. Well, I swore Elgard was offside half the time and he never got called, but this time Copeland did.
Brett Ralph is wide right. Left. Ronald's in the backfield. Thurman.
Lewis all to one side of the field. I mean, that's a little scary. The Ticats they roll zone to the wide side of the field to protect, and then what happens when you do that, the corner's got deep third, he's laying way off. That allows Thurman just to hang around out on the sidelines, and that's a pretty easy pickup.
Thurman last week, a couple of touchdowns, 14 catches so far this season. Kenyon Rambo picks up a couple after the first quarter. Stampeders will go to the other end of the field and try to find the end zone themselves. The Ticats, thanks to an interception and a touchdown by Jason Moss, lead 7-0 in Hamilton. Here are the numbers after the first quarter. Our statistics brought to you by Rona, proud league-wide sponsors of the CFL.
Well, pretty even. The real big thing is the one turnover that resulted in the Ticat touchdown. Tay Cody with the interception, and Jason Moss 11 plays later was able to get into the end zone for the touchdown. The Ticats with a nice, pretty clean first quarter 7-0 lead.
Stampeders, though, their furthest penetration of the night into Ticat territory, down to the 34. Burris settles in and fires. And Henry Burris was hit in the backfield, and Tim Cheatwood has his hands in the air, but this is going to go, looks like, against Calgary, although now Tim Cheatwood's saying it's against Calgary or against the Hamilton Tiger Cats 49.
Holding.
It's a holding
Calgary
call.
66. Penalties decline. Third down.
At first, it looked like Burris was complaining because he got hit after the pass, but it goes against Hamilton, and so now Stampeders' Sandro DeAngelis, two-time Special Teams Player of the Week, 2 weeks in a row, and a guy who has made 15 straight field goals. Also hails from this region, Niagara Falls. This will come from the 40. DeAngelis, who won it for Calgary a couple of weeks ago. Straight up and through. Boy, is this guy hot. Sandro DeAngelis comes home. That was Calgary on the board.
Returning kicks so far, but Josh Ronick is left to do most of the work on the ground, and it has been a tough start for him this year coming to this game. Only 19 carries. That's what he did a year ago. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons with the Ottawa Renegades, and so I think expectations were very high as they were able to get him in the dispersal draft. But so far this season, he just really hasn't been a huge factor. One good touchdown reception last week.
Quick hitter to Terry Vaughn in the flat. Vaughn still on his feet. Fights, the veteran does, for 9 yards.
Well, Jermaine Chapman really had him tied up quickly, but Terry Vaughn was able to just get away from the tackle and make something out of nothing. And you know, this is basically a good first down call. Get it out to your receiver, quickly let him find some running room. But look at Chapman, 41. He was in great shape to make the play about 2 yards over the line of scrimmage, but all of a sudden that turns into a better than a 9-yard gain.
Again, moving closer, and now he is tied for second all-time, 966, with Alan Pitts. 6 away from 972. Direct snap to Ronick. The pitch to Moss. Downfield to DJ Flick. Little flea flicker to Flick. Works. Gain, a huge play for the Ticats, who have not had a lot of huge plays this year.
Well, again, here's Ronick right in the middle, and watch, he runs the option right here, and I think this is great because we talked about the fact that Hamilton has been pretty easy to defense, so now you start throwing a little wrinkle in here and there, and it's got to loosen up the defense, and that was a heck of a well-executed play. Good catch by Flick.
Jason Moss has thrown 6 interceptions this year, only 2 touchdowns, and so far right now, tonight, a lot of confidence. Ronick spinning in the backfield and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Could Terry Vaughn even break that record here tonight? He's already had 3 catches, and here is where he stands all time. 966.
Well, it seems fitting because he's just been so consistent throughout the career, and again, you know, 11 times over 1,000. That is just phenomenal to me. You know, I'd be happy with 1 or 2 seasons. He's had 11 in a row.
Well, a little extra something tonight too against his old team, the Calgary Stampeders, a team he won a Grey Cup with. Second down and 12. Moss hangs in over the middle, and there's an interference call this time against Terry Vaughn. John Grace grabbed him by the jersey, and that will move the yardsticks even more for the Ticats.
Terry Vaughn right here, and watch as he works down. He's going to come down to the inside, and Moss steps up into the pocket trying to buy a little extra time, and there's John Grace right there, the linebacker. There you see it. He made total contact with him and didn't allow Vaughn to get in. Good call by the officials. Keeps this drive going.
Just outstanding defensive player last year in the CFL. John Grace, a 3-time All-Star. Terry Vaughn coming out to Moss's left. Ronick's in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the 25. Rolls left, and there's Vaughn again. Terry Vaughn tries to shake a tackle. He's a couple of yards shy, but another reception, and now Terry Vaughn is second alone all time.
Well, and this is really great ball control offense through the passing game. There they up the middle, and Terry Vaughn just sneaks to the outside. Very easy ball to complete and clear out, clear out, clear out, and then you just come underneath it. Hey, that's pretty easy, and you know what? These are great first down receptions because you're getting good, solid, positive yardage. Again, almost 9 yards on that play to Vaughn.
4 catches for Vaughn, 31 yards. 2nd and 2. There's Moss off the left side again. Jason Moss rumbles for a first down. And now it will be 1st and goal, Tiger Cats.
Well, Jason Moss really playing a defense well on short yardage runs, and again on that option.
He is the Ticats' leading rusher this year, Jason Moss. Cats trying to find the end zone again. Moss, some audibles and a flag in the end zone. Took a little too much time.
And that's a killer
Time count
penalty.
violation. Hamilton, number 11, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You know, those are killer penalties. I mean, this is a beautifully executed drive. They got the aid of a penalty to John.
Stopped at the goal line. Raheem Abdullah, the CFL lineman of the week. Touchdown saving tackle.
Boy, Calgary Stampeders run a stunt on the goal line. Watch this. Up. Then Cole comes right up and fills into the hole. Inside, inside. Nobody to block for him, and Rana can't run him over.
And it was Scott Cole right at the goal line. So now Jason Moss is calling for a timeout, wants to talk with Ron Lancaster about this, and there seemed to be a little confusion as Julian Radlin came on the field.
Well, I think that's a great thing. If you're not 100%, boy, you're struggling 0-4. You know, you can count on one hand how many opportunities you're going to get in the other teams inside their 10-yard line. So good call. Get everything organized.
Look at Ron Lancaster's face right now, like a voice of reason here. Okay, calm down. Let's settle down. Let's get the touchdown. Been there, done that. How many times?
He has certainly been there. Of course, Ron Lancaster and the great connections of all time throughout the league. Warren Moon and Brian Kelly represent the Edmonton Eskimos. Ron Lancaster and Hugh Campbell representing the Saskatchewan. I'm mad.
Leaf Pedersen would have been
mad.
on that list.
Why wasn't it Ron and myself?
Well, Danny McManus and
Goodness
Darren Fruity
gracious.
here in Hamilton are the representatives for making the connection. And now Hamilton tries to connect with the end zone. Big play here. 3rd and goal. The pitch on the ground, fumble, and the Cats blow it. That's the kind of season it has been so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. George White recovers the football. Well, the White Knight on that play. George White with the recovery. Actually, a rather easy recovery because the Ticats botched the 3rd and goal. Ball slipping out of the gloved hand of Jason Moss. And so the Stampeders will take over. Henry Burris with a great fake, ball fake, and he did a lot of this a couple of weeks ago, and it caught the Ticats napping.
Well, let's go back to that turnover by the Ticats. Jason Moss wears the glove on the left hand, the non-throwing hand. Much the reason that everybody in the league, or not everybody, a lot of quarterbacks feel that the balls are a little slipperier this year with the stripes sewn in on them. So, hey, was that a factor in this one? Who knows? But there you see, simply quarterback error. Josh Ronick, had he had a clean pitch, would have easily scored.
Big play by Henry Burris, though. On that play action to Reynolds. Very effective play, and you have a guy like Jeffrey Reynolds in the backfield. And 33-yard scamper. 2nd and 5 now for Burris in the Stamps. To Nick Lewis. And Lewis spinning up to the 38-yard line. Former CFL Rookie of the Year. There's a little dance. His first catch of the night.
Well, it's a beauty. You know, when they spread out the defense with 3 receivers to each side of the field and then you cross somebody underneath, it is just so tough for the defense. And Nick Lewis is fearless coming underneath there to make that catch. And more often than not, he gives you some great extra yards as well.
17th catch of the season for Lewis. He got hit hard. Football was not there. There's Jason Goss, who figured prominently in that last meeting with the Stampeders and a 109-yard interception return.
That was quite a play. This time, Jakeem Bradley read this quickly, and he was up, watched right in there, and makes the hit. No way that the receiver's going to make any extra yardage here. And Jermaine Copeland, he's got to come in and make that block, and he simply just wasn't ready to deliver one.
looks like it is. Calgary first down.
But again, Nick Lewis, such a technically sound receiver, running the hook on Tay Cody, left side of your screen. Good pocket again for Henry Burris. Only a three-man rush by the Ticats. Lots of good protection for him to see downfield. And remember that after the turnover, Calgary started deep in their own end. This is really the first good drive that they put together tonight.
They are starting to march. 6 receivers set to the flat for Rambo. Is that Wes Cates out there on the far side of the field? It is Wes Cates from Columbus, Ohio.
You know what, Rod? When you run the quick screen to the wide receiver on first down, I believe it's a great play. Now, you can catch the ball here, but Nick Lewis has got to come out and make the block on Cornegay, who's coming here. If you don't get that first block at the point of attack, you've got no chance. Well, look at Cornegay. He comes in underneath and really makes a fine play. But unless you get the block at a point of attack, it's not going to work.
2nd and 5. Again, Reynolds in the backfield. To the near sideline. Thrown out of bounds. Marcus Howell. And another first down. And Burris is starting to really go to work here.
Yeah, and I love to see Marcus Howell get some playing time. I've been a big fan of his. You know, one year he's a wide receiver. They asked him to play corner in Winnipeg. He did an outstanding job, and I always felt he was underused with the Ottawa Renegades the last few seasons. And technically, he's got great hands. He runs good routes, and you know, Scotty Anderson for Calgary's not in the lineup tonight, so that means Marcus Howell's going to get some more playing time.
He goes left side with Jermaine Copeland. Reynolds again in the backfield, the lone back. Gets the ball this time, cutting back. Ray Marius with the tackle there. Stampeders, their offensive coordinator, Steve Barato, a former head coach in the Canadian Football League. Watching his team now start to march. This is something they did not do in the first quarter.
Which they normally do. I think Steve Barato and Henry Burris have developed a very nice mutual respect and chemistry together.
And a 6-pack package in receivers. Burris in some trouble here. Flags downfield. He throws it away. One official says that Nick Lewis is out of bounds. One says he is complete. We'll see what they do when they sort it out here. There are flags again on the field.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Hamilton 31, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Joaquin Bradley with the infraction, so with the aid of a penalty here.
Well, he got tied up with Marcus Howell coming off the line of scrimmage.
Come on, defense, you're getting this, man. Work out there.
Get a look at it right here. To the left of your screen, yeah. He just absolutely knocked him down. Pretty easy call to make.
3.5 minutes left before halftime. Pump fake. Look out here. Burris goes down. And it's Devontae Peterson with his 2nd sack of the season.
Devontae Peterson working over the right guard, Taylor Robertson, and he just keeps some extra effort here. Watch him. He just doesn't give up on this play. Henry Burris with the pump fake. He needs a little extra time, and actually Peterson breaks the double team to get the sack.
3-minute warning on the field. 7-3 Ticats in Hamilton. after 16 in a row. D'Angelo. After all, 7-4 Cats. Welcome back to Iverwin Stadium for the second half tonight. Wendy's Friday Night Football on TSN. Don't forget, after this, we'll take you to BC, Saskatchewan, and the BC Lions. The second half of our doubleheader. The Hamilton Tiger Cats leading 7-4. Trying to break into the win column in what has been a very trying week for the organization. Firing their former coach of the year. Sandro DeAngelis will kick this off to get our third quarter underway. Corey Holmes is back. Along with Craig Yeast. Here's Holmes. There's an opening. Corey Holmes brings it up to the 43-yard line.
Well, Corey Holmes consistently tonight has given his team good field position with terrific kick returns, and here he just waits. Now the seam opens up. There you see the acceleration. Some good blocking. Ray Mary used through a dandy to spring him loose, and nice spot for Jason Moss to start this drive.
This is the 5th week in the CFL. It seems kind of peculiar that we haven't had a return yet, punt or kickoff. Don't you find that strange?
I find it very strange with the amount of talent that's out there returning kicks in the league.
Jason Moss was looking for Vaughn. There it is. Terry Vaughn with his 6th catch here tonight. And again, moving closer, inching closer to becoming the CFL's all-time reception leader. There was a flag after the play on the sideline.
Well, Joe Paopao is the mastermind of this Hamilton offense. Those were the first half possessions tonight.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 7. 15-yard penalty. First down.
John Grace penalized. So now Terry Vaughn is 3 receptions away.
A couple of penalties for Grace tonight. One interference, and now this one on the sidelines. And you know, tough to tell there if he was out of bounds. I suspect he was.
Again, Vaughn is 3 away from tying Flutie, 4 from becoming the all-time reception king. Roddick. Once again, nothing open for Josh Roddick. That is a dynamic front 7 for the Calgary Stampeders, that 3-4.
And again, I'm somewhat surprised that Corey Holmes is not in the backfield running the football tonight. And of course, he is coming back off the ankle injury. He's caught a couple of passes out of the backfield and of course returned kicks quite well. But I thought we'd see him handling the football a little more from the running back position, and yet we have yet to see that.
4 carries, 11 yards for Josh Roddick. 2nd and 8 now for the Cats. Moss, look out here, and he will drop the football. It's a fumble, and it's picked up by Sheldon Napastuk, and the Stampeders take over. Pressure that time by the Stamps, and another turnover from the Cats. TSN proud to present tonight's game in high definition, courtesy of Sony, and available in 5.1 digital Dolby surround sound. There's a lot of Stampeders surrounding Jason Moss. 2nd time tonight he coughs up the football, this time at midfield. And the Stampeders take over at the Hamilton 49, trailing by 3. Reynolds, Joffrey Reynolds, outstanding first half. This time he is stopped up. Cheatwood is there. John Grace was certainly in on Jason Moss.
Now watch the stunt to the outside, up, and then watch how far John Grace comes on the blitz to make this play. I mean, this is a long way to come, but he fights his way right up over center and knocks the ball loose at the same time. Napastuk with the fumble recovery. But for John Grace, I mean, that is a stunt that takes a long time to develop, and he came loose right up the gut.
Second time tonight, Moss fumbles, and again with that gloved hand in this hot, sticky night. Jermaine Copeland can't hang on, and Tay Cody's had himself a good night. So Cody breaks up that potential reception. And the Stampeders go 2 and out. Bert Dales will come in.
Well, you know, that's frustrating for Calgary, for Henry Burris, Tom Higgins, and Steve Barato. I mean, you get the turnover, you really want to take advantage. They've done a good job at that this year for the most part. But that quick 2 and out certainly wasn't what they wanted.
Corey Holmes is back at his 5. Dales will angle to the sidelines. And they keep it away, as far away as possible from number 3. We'll be back to Hamilton. Wendy's Friday Night Football will continue after this. Well, coming up after this one tonight, we head to BC Place. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and Lions are standing by. Jason Moss. Again to Josh Ronick. Just is not getting much running room so far this season with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and they are ready in BC Place. Chris Cuthbert, Glenn Suter. The Rough Riders trying to bounce back after being demolished offensively last week by the Calgary Stampeders, and the Lions, Dave Dickinson, trying to get another win early in this year. 2nd and 5 yards to go. Very close to a first down.
Great reaction by Tony Tiller there to come in. That play looked like it was destined to easily pick up the first down, but that's going to come up short. As Tony Tiller, who's been a nice addition to this secondary, filling in as mostly the 6th defensive back, nickelback coming in these situations. But watch how he knifes through. Initially, good block on the outside. There you go. And Tiller just knifes through, makes the play. And I believe that once again, Ron Lancaster's going to have to make a decision here. And this is pretty deep in his own territory. We've seen some funny things with the football tonight, and there's certainly some intense humidity here. So you see Ronnie's got the towel on. He's getting the sweaty brow going.
Here come the twin backs, Ronick and Julian Radlin. So they are going to go.
You know, one of the things throughout Ron's playing career, I mean, he always had the luxury of George Reed, so it usually was never a doubt what we were going to do on 3rd down was give it to George. And it was pretty much an easy call.
Again, there have been a couple of mishaps. Another 3rd down gamble near the goal line.
Yeah,
went astray for Moss.
I don't know about this one.
Moss straight ahead. And with the spot, needed about a half a yard.
But you know, he took an awful shot there coming over the top. I believe it was Brian Clark. George White was in there too, and I'm sure they're going to get it. But watch over the top here. Jason Moss, it's a little high right there. It is Brian Clark. See the old coach.
Ronnie Lancaster was right on that line, and I'm not so sure if he even thought for a second they didn't get it, but they did. And he's going to chuckle on the sidelines.
He said that was easy.
Of course, led the Cats to a Grey Cup here in 1999. Moss behind center to DJ Flick. Right up to his 45-yard line. 19-yard pickup on the quick slant into Flick.
And they went to a tight end formation. Julian Radlin lined up as a tight end on that side and just blocked up, and all the quick post to Flick. And as soon as he cleared the linebacker, the ball was in the air. Nicely thrown by Jason Moss.
Right guard Wayne Smith is down in the backfield, and he's banged up, and he is hurt. So we'll take a break and come back to Hamilton. 7-4 Ticats. More emotion from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I think we also anticipated a little more offense. We're not getting it today.
I think we anticipated a lot more offense, certainly from the Calgary Stampeders, and through 2.5 quarters, they've only scored 4 points. I mean, give a lot of credit to Hamilton. They're playing with emotion, and you know, Hamilton could be leading by more had they not shot themselves in the foot so many times. Fumbled on the 1-yard line on 3rd and goal. So anyway, a little surprising it's so low scoring, but tight, which we want.
Yeah, and Ron Lancaster trying to get his Hamilton Tiger Cats their first win of 2006. Wayne Smith is hobbling off now, and so that puts more pressure on that offensive line. There has been some pressure on Jason Moss tonight from that Calgary front 7. So does not look good right now for Wayne Smith. We'll get an update from John Liu. 1st and 10. Moss out to Corey Holmes. Look out here. He has some room. Holmes, a 15-yard scamper.
Well, Corey Holmes clearly has been the offensive threat for the Ticats tonight, and I certainly hope they leave him in the game and give him a little more playing time, because every time he has touched the football, he's had truly positive yardage. And here again, you know, once again, Terry Vaughn, good block at the point of attack. That's the key, and he gets it in. Corey Holmes is a great kick returner, reads those blocks so well. And I hope they keep him in for a little longer this time.
33 yards, 3 receptions so far. This time he gets the handoff inside, so the first running play. Again, we saw Wayne Smith go out of the game. He's being carted off the field, will be attended to. And Pascal Charon, the veteran, comes in, and he has been slowed this season by a bout of mono.
Well, you know, I've had it twice, and you just don't recover overnight with that kind of blood disorder, and you know, the white cells just get down and you can't fight infection, and it can take a long time. So Pascal Charon, he too fighting back right now.
2nd down and 5. 6 receivers set for Moss. Look out here again, and Kwame Cavill has nowhere to go. Great read right there by the Stampeders.
You know what, at this point in time, when they go to that side, Jermaine Chapman is up into that backfield so quickly, and that's the 2nd time tonight that he has made a play like that. You're going to see it again, but number 41, absolutely, when he sees that look, he accelerates up there. So you know what, if I'm Joe Paopao, I'm going to fake the block, fake the throw, and send somebody deep, because he's the perfect guy to do that against, because he reacts so quickly to those kind of screen plays. I think Paopao's got to file that one away for futures tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Lewis is back. Chapman's on the line now. Pat Fleming bobbles the football. Look out, Fleming lets it go. A ground ball down to Lewis, and that worked out pretty good for the Tiger Cats. That had disaster written all over it. Stampeders back on offense when we come back.
The 197 horsepower Civic SI from Honda.
It is a low-scoring night in Hamilton so far. Burris to Rambo, knocked out of bounds.
Well, back to the kick by Pat Fleming, and you know, this is a one-hopper. He actually makes a really good play. I mean, this is tough. You got the heat coming, and you know what? Look at the job he does to, I mean, it's not much of a kick, but he got a great roll. And talk about making a half-decent play out of a disastrous situation.
Yeah, he also could have been seriously smoked there. Able to get that off, only 24 yards, but that could have been not only a loss, that could have gone the other way for 6 points.
Well, again, tonight, there has been a lot of missed tackles on both sides, and I'm just wondering with, you you know, the humidity. I know
I totally agree with you.
It looks like there's been some trouble handling the football a little bit, but you know, even tackling, I mean, you get the sweaty arms, the jerseys are absolutely soaked right through. So I'm not so sure that some of the sloppy tackling hasn't been because of the intense humidity.
Burris and the Stamps go 1st and 10 from their 44-yard line. Movement on the line. And maybe a time count. No, it's procedure against the Stampeders.
And one of the other things tonight, Rod, and it's been really hot in Calgary, but
Procedure. Calgary number 64, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jeff Belon with the procedure penalty, but it's been hot in Calgary, but you know what? They don't get the humidity like this, and this has been kind of a mindless sort of sloppy game for the Stampeders so far, and I'm just wondering, you know, you come east at this time of the year, I mean, this is a tough night to play, and we'll see if it takes its toll on their fitness level in the 4th quarter.
7 minutes to go before that 4th quarter. Reynolds carrying the mail again.
So I think it bears talking about. I mean, this is an offense that's only scored 4 points tonight, but look what they've amassed so far this season. I mean, they've been at the top of the charts in almost every category. Points scored first. I mean, they average 28 points a game, yards a game, almost 450. That's enormous. And Joffrey Reynolds. So Hamilton's either doing an unbelievable job or Steve Barato's group is just not functioning at their normal level.
Don't you find, too, though, early in the year after a blowout in one of those games with not really a great work of progress, those numbers are skewed because they only have played 4 games.
No question.
Only 4 points tonight. Henry Burris has to run, lets it fly, and laying out was Brett Ralph.
Well, it's interesting. They love to run the crossing routes. And the Hamilton inside linebackers just at the snap of the ball both turned to the inside and started looking for people coming across. So there was a lot of commotion, and you see that's where Burris wanted to go initially. But he really does buy himself some nice time with his feet. He does not complete the pass, but he still was able to get outside and have an attempt at it. But Hamilton on defense, you know, they've done their film study, and although Lewis has caught a few balls underneath tonight, the linebackers, Bobby Brooks and Juwan Armour, those guys were looking for those crossing patterns to bump them off their routes.
Once again, Burke Dales is back, and so is Corey Holmes. I have a feeling that Holmes, one of these games, one of these moments, is going to get one and break one.
Somebody's going to do it this year. Oh, what a surprise. Another flag.
He's brought down at the 32. We'll tell you about the penalty when we come back to Ivor Wynne Stadium. 7-4 Ticats. Well, no, you're not imagining anything. When Calgary has the football, and as we were going to break, they explained that it was a procedure call against the Stampeders and then a roughing call against Hamilton. Now, Ron Lancaster is going ballistic on the sidelines over there and trying to figure this one out as well.
Well, nobody, I mean, we did not see from, and now the officials.
And now it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be Hamilton football. Because the procedure did come before the roughing. A procedure call against the Stampeders. An unnecessary roughness call. Unnecessary roughing against Hamilton. And for a moment there, our eyes weren't believing what we were seeing, but it's all worked out here. And now Hamilton's backed up.
Calgary illegal formation. That penalty's declined. After the play, major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton 82, back 15 yards. First down, Hamilton.
All right, so they decline the penalty, get the football, and after dead ball foul.
There goes Wayne Smith. Apparently a high ankle injury.
Illegal formation. That penalty's declined. After the ball was dead. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness.
I got to check with our producer, John Hines, if this is a replay.
This is another explanation just to make sure that everybody got it.
Old Andre must like this call. All right, well, we got it.
If you didn't get it one more time, what was it? What was it?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we do know one thing. Tiger Cats have the football. They lead 7-4, 5.5 to go in the third quarter. Moss will roll. And giving chase and bringing him down, but Yeast makes the catch. What a crazy night this has been here. And that just sort of typifies it, doesn't it?
Well, Terrence Patrick had him in his sights, and all of a sudden, Jason Moss at the end of this play was able to complete a ball. Here's Patrick coming from the bottom of your screen. Watch, he's relentless. He doesn't give up, and he thinks he's got the sack right here. All of a sudden, he's got a completion, but it just gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's a lot of work for no gain.
Again, the Ticats lucky the ball wasn't picked off and taken to the house. 2nd and 10 now. Kyle Peterson goes wide right. DJ Flick to the left. Corey Holmes is in the set here. So is Vaughn. To the sidelines and knocked out of bounds into that wall, which is so close. DJ Flick, you've played here. You know how close it is now. They do have rubber padding on that brick wall down there, but DJ Flick has been rocked.
You know, you have to be fearless when you're running that kind of a pattern to the sidelines. He is going full speed as he makes the catch clearly out of bounds. And,
boy,
you know, the touch from behind by Tony Tiller, 29, he right in the back there. And, you know, and people will say, well, heck, he's out of bounds. That's roughing. But, I mean, at full speed, guys, you know, when you're right on the sidelines, you're allowed to make that play as a defensive back as well. I think Flick's okay.
Stampeders should get some good field position here. Fleming is at his 2-yard line. Just gets this one away, but oh, a booming kick. And dropped. Picked up. Nick Lewis dropped it. Tad Cornegay has it. The Tiger Cats get the football back. This continues. Nick Lewis drops the punt return. Tad Cornegay gets the football back. And maybe this is what it's like to play football in a sauna, because nobody has been able to hang on to it.
Well, it's just been a weird night checking that moon out there.
Corey Holmes wanted to throw the football back to Jason Moss. Instead, gallops for a first down.
Well, this is some kind of play on the handoff. You know, you clearly see that as he hands off, Jason Moss is going to come over right here, and he's expecting to throw. So what happens? Holmes says, well, I better run this way. And look at the block that Moss throws on John Grace. And this was all set up by a terrifically athletic play by Tad Cornegay. Watch here how he curls, rolls, and makes the recovery all at one time. How many times have you seen players look absolutely ridiculous going after a fumble and trying to pick it up? That was a thing of beauty, the way Cornegay rolled, scooped it, protected it all in one shot. Extremely athletic.
White City, baby. Stand up, baby.
Well, a lot of players on the field right now getting some water, and they're down on one knee. And we talked before about, you know, the hydration factor here tonight, needing a lot of water, and the cramping that will go on.
Yeah.
And this is where it starts to kick in, doesn't it?
Well, can I tell you honestly, folks, and you know, Rod Black would whine, but I won't. But it is really hot, even up in the booth here tonight.
Why wouldn't you? You were the first guy to whine.
Anyway, I mean, like truly, we are really perspiring up here just broadcasting the game, so I can only imagine
starting to smell
what it's like. Well, there you see right there the offensive lineman. That's Greg Randall right there, and these guys they're going to lose a few pounds tonight for sure. In fact, a lot of pounds. But you're right,
it can be dangerous.
Well, it can be dangerous. And for more on this, let's check in with John Liu. John.
Well, guys, the wind hasn't kicked up yet, and you really wish it would here at Everwind Stadium, but the humidity, along with the temperature, is about 36 Celsius at kickoff time and still hovering around there. Calgary Stampeders in particular, they are feeling it because it's a lot drier in Calgary for their home games, but they've stocked up on about double the water supply and electrolyte drinks. Hamilton's standpoint, double the water and about 3 times the normal supply of ice towels. So both teams are feeling it, and the sooner the wind kicks up here to cool things down, the better off both sides will be.
Well, I got a feeling it may not kick up. Brian Clark leaves. It looks like a cramp from him. John Liu didn't look like he was perspiring. He's got a fan down there.
Yeah, what's going on there? He didn't have a drip or anything.
Yeah, he's probably in the lounge or one of the suites. But Brian Clark leaves. Jason Moss. See, that's where he was standing around right there.
That's where he's been hiding.
But it is a hot and humid night. And the Ticats are on the move here. Corey Holmes has really started to pick it up for the Ticat offense, doing what they picked him up for. Ronick's in the backfield, Moss behind center. Play action to Ronick. Goes to the outside for Peterson. And overthrew him. Well, a reminder that you can vote for the Rogers Player of the Game. You can cast your vote. Text messaging, go CFL, internet, CFL.ca. Rogers Player of the Game. And then maybe Terry Vaughn, who could become the all-time reception leader, maybe even tonight. John Grace has had a pretty good game. A lot of pressure on Jason Moss.
I think it might be a defensive player that comes up with a huge turnover at crunch time and wins the game for somebody. It just seems like Reynolds had a great second quarter.
So 2nd and 10 now. Moss stays in traffic. There's Vaughn. A spin down to the 5-yard line. And what a play by Terry Vaughn. What a pass by Moss. Bullseye.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, Moss had so much time as he waited for this to develop. Again, Terry Vaughn from the inside, 3rd man in, working to the inside, but watch as this play develops. Brock Ralph coming from the other side. And, no, I think he was going for Terry Vaughn all the way. I mean, the longer that play goes, you know, guys are going to run into each other, especially when they're coming over the middle. But we just did the player of the game promo, and all of a sudden Terry Vaughn, who's certainly a great candidate, makes a huge play to keep this drive going.
Could be a historic night for Vaughn tonight. 2 to tie Darren Flutie, 3 to become the all-time reception cap. Moss may have to eat it here, and he does. Throws it away. Jason Moss had nothing in the end zone, and the play did not develop from the beginning.
You know, good speed at the defensive ends for Calgary. Raheem Abdullah, Demetrius Maxey, and Terrence Patrick when they're in this 3-4. And, you know, in a 3-4, you got to get that good outside leverage. And Raheem Abdullah really did it there. I mean, he's a terrific player. 59 CFL game, 25 career sacks. So, you know, he gets a sack every 2 games. That's pretty decent production over your career.
So 2nd down and goal. 3-point game. 1:45 to go in the quarter. And a lot of motion on the line. And might this be a procedure call against Hamilton? And no, you can see the look on Moss's face. They've done it to themselves again.
Well, when they've been in the real scoring zone,
5-yard penalty, 2nd down repeated.
Inside the 10-yard line, they've turned the ball over on a fumble. They've had a delay of game, and now they've had a procedure call setting them back.
Look at the penalties tonight. 20 penalties in this game. We've had a lot of orange flags on the field as Jason Moss chats with Kevin Eakin. Chadwick Williams goes out. So now Moss, his team backed up. It's again 2nd and goal, but now it comes to near the 14-yard line. Flick goes to the right side. Peterson left.
And they got Pascal Charron in at the corner on the wide side of the field. In for Williams.
They look for Vaughn. No. Moss dancing. And room. Jason Moss stopped short. And once again, the Ticats can't find the end zone.
And he took an enormous hit. Now he's getting up, but Calgary Stampeders taking down. I mean, you can see that develop. I mean, the coverage is so good by Calgary, and then all of a sudden, when Moss was able to use his legs to break containment, he sees a gap, and then he's off and running, and watch the hit right there. Abdullah and Cam Yao, who's in replacing Brian Clark, number 44. You're going to see it one more time here. And I think Yao is Abdullah took a shot from his own player as well. And Raheem is up, but Cam Yao is not.
Cam Yao's down, and they attend to him. Raheem Abdullah, of course, played with Jason Moss in Edmonton. Teammates, but again, Hamilton Tiger Cat drive. They could be leading this game by 20 points.
Yeah, it could be 21-4 for sure. They've really missed some opportunities here. And again, you know, hey, Blackie, they're 0-4. I mean, the good teams don't miss those opportunities. I mean, they when they have an opportunity to put you away, they do.
So many changes, so much optimism before the season, and now this man is in charge, trying to turn things around.
Play Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win. You could win a digital compatible Prima 20-inch LCD TV with high contrast and brightness, component video input, and progressive scan. Shop at Safeway. Ingredients for life.
From morning till night, we all do it, but you should never have to. Secret Platinum Invisible Solid gives 24-hour odor protection or your money back. It's still working, so you can stop checking.
Secret, strong enough for a woman.
Tomorrow in high definition, it's game 2 of a series after the All-Star break. The Blue Jays against the Seattle Mariners. Jays trailing 5-3 in the 8th inning tonight. 4 o'clock Eastern start tomorrow from Rogers Center.
Well, you know, the Calgary Stampeders are going to get a little thin at linebacker. Brian Clark already out with the muscle cramps, and now Cam Yao. I mean, he really, as they collided, you watch Raheem Abdullah come from one side, Cam Yao comes from the other. And it was just a hit on Moss that looks like he jammed his neck.
Jason Moss, shoulder pad flapping. And Yao hits him and takes the worst of it. Good news for the Stampeders. They stop Moss, but the bad news, again, a depleted linebacking core here tonight. And injuries are starting to pile up. 1:05 to go in the 3rd quarter. Seems like he's having a hard time getting his wind here.
Well, Ronnie Lancaster, when play does resume, will not gamble here. I mean, he's got 3rd and goal from the 2, and I think, you know, he's got to start at some point putting some points on the board and taking advantage of these opportunities. So he will have the newcomer Mark Myers in for his first field goal attempt as a Ticat. You know, in college at Florida Atlantic University career, he was 43 for 59. Now, in college, I can tell you that is a most impressive record. And he's been with the Cats since training camp, and this is his opportunity. Although it's, you know, if I'm starting my career, I don't mind starting with a 10-yarder or whatever it's going to be, 9-yarder.
So for a 6-point lead, just a little chip shot here for Mark Myers. And a time count violation, perhaps. What's this all about?
Sometimes in these situations, the offense will take a penalty just to move it back to get a better angle. I don't think that's what they did.
Time count violation. Hamilton, number 16. Penalty is declined. Ball will stay on the 1-yard line. Still 3rd down.
They might as well try, and they know this is kind of a funky little angle here. It's like a penalty kick at the World Cup.
Yep.
Myers very deliberate.
Well, Rob Hitchcock did that on purpose. No question, he did that on purpose because he wants to move it back a little bit. And again, they'll decline it. So, you know, how long is this charade going to go on?
Offside. Hamilton, number 42. Penalties decline. Ball stays on the 1-yard line. Clock will start on the snap.
So here you go. He has a look. I mean, he's doing it on purpose.
Okay.
Now, can this go on indefinitely?
Well, I think the pattern's already developing, don't you think? You know, the little general will try anything. Kick is booted straight through the uprights. Smile from Lancaster. 6-point lead. And speaking of Rob Hitchcock, he's been around the Tiger Cats for a while, and here's what he had to say this week about the Greg Marshall firing.
Being close with Greg, I thought he did a very admirable job. Like I said, he was green on a few things, but week 4 we didn't really think it would happen. Week 4, maybe if we lost a couple more games, and maybe. But Greg's a good coach, and he'll be okay.
Well, that was a sentiment, I think, from a lot of the players here.
Yeah, kind of me too. You know, I thought, you know, heck, had one home game, and I thought 4 games might have been an early hook, and the fact that the Argos were 1-3 and you're only 2 points out of the playoffs.
Rambo on a reverse. Kenyon Rambo, and a big ramble from him to the 40-yard line of Hamilton.
Well, the Stampeders use that play very effectively. They'll run it with Copeland, they'll run it with Lewis, and now they run it with Rambo, and everything goes to the right against the grain, and they run it from the bunch formation, fake the Reynolds. The pitch influences the middle linebacker, so Brooks is gone when Rambo breaks through the line of scrimmage, and that's the guy that would have to make the play. But the pitch move influenced Brooks, and he wasn't there.
Should be the final play, barring penalty in this third quarter. Bobbled snap, Burris hangs on. Throws to the wide out, and the catch made first of the night by Brett Ralph, who tonight, of course, his brother Brock on the other side of the field. So Stampeders moving the football here. They trail by 6 as we head to the fourth quarter.
Well, interesting to see that the Ticats, all their 10 points coming off Calgary miscues tonight. A pretty interesting game evolving, you know, almost like a little boxing match. Nobody really trying to take control of this fight, and
a lot of sweating.
A lot of sweating. We're sweating tonight, but you know, just in the back of your mind, do you not feel like you're just waiting for Calgary to break out? And I mean, they've got a drive going to start this fourth quarter.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats also, a trend here has been that they have not been able to score in second halves so far this year, and the Stampeders held to just 4 points with his high-powered offense. Pump fake. Burris. He has Rambo for the touchdown. Just like that, Kenyon Rambo puts the Stampeders in front with the point after to come. So the Stampeders finally find pay dirt here tonight.
Well, good protection for Henry Burris. It takes a lot of time when you run that pump fake to the outside. Rambo freezes the defensive back, and he's into the end zone with the first offensive touchdown for the Stampeders tonight. It took a while, but it was a pretty play.
Couple of big plays in the drive by Rambo.
Yeah, his first touchdown of the year, and you know that little tiff that they had at Edmonton a few weeks ago. I know that thing was over in a hurry. And great connection between Burris and Rambo on that play.
So the convert puts the Stampeders in front for the first time tonight.
Last year, I was honored to receive the Rogers Fans Choice Award. Now it's your call again to vote for the Rogers Player of the Game.
With your Rogers wireless phone, type the first letter of your player's city and his jersey number. Then send to Go CFL or vote at CFL.ca. You could win a VIP trip to Grey Cup with backstage access at the Rogers CFL Player Awards or great game day prizes.
Vote now for today's Rogers Player of the Game.
Pops, what's comes along, Bishop Sandy with it? Big Big, what up? Go on now, baby. Now stop. We gotta keep going, though. Gotta keep going. Points on the board.
Kenyon Rambo's first touchdown of the season has given his team a 1-point lead early in the fourth quarter in Hamilton. Sandro DeAngelis. The boot down to Corey Holmes. Holmes tripped up, and there's a flag on the play afterwards.
Blackie, let's go back and have a look at this touchdown catch by Kenyon Rambo, or was it? We're going to freeze it. Just watch the ball right there. Did it touch the ground? I mean, this happens quickly. I mean, we have the advantage of super slow right here. But see the ball hit the ground and pop.
So close.
I don't know.
Might have been reviewable, but look at that.
Again, you have a look there, and I mean, you know, and to me, always you know, obviously the slow-mo is great to really determine these things, but when you're looking at that and you're an official, or even the other team looking at this to say, well, are we going to throw the flag and have a challenge? I mean, at full speed, that's pretty tough to tell.
Got to keep it going, baby.
Yeah.
Well, Rambo and Burris a few weeks ago weren't talking to each other very much. They were talking in a different tone. Terry Vaughn, again, huge night for him here. One reception away from tying Darren Flutie all time. I have a feeling the record will be broken here tonight. Lots of time left. And then Vaughn will establish a new number.
Well, and it goes to a good guy who deserves it, in my opinion. I mean, his consistency is unparalleled.
Moss taking off on 2nd and 6. And there was absolutely no opening there for him. So once again, Hamilton will have to kick the football away, and the fans here, a good crowd here tonight. They are very restless.
Well, they try the quarterback draw, and Raheem Abdullah just slices down from his defensive end spot on this. I mean, initially it looks like there's some openings, and you know, they're expecting Abdullah to come straight upfield, but he goes to the inside on Ryan Donnelly, beats him easily. And that's not what Moss thought he was going to get in a pass rush, obviously. He thought the ends would crash to the outside. They came inside.
High snap. End over ender from Fleming. Nick Lewis will hang on to it this time, but brought down at the 53-yard line. Cats come up empty. Burris back at it in a moment. 14 for Winnipeg. Ticats now with 6. Stampeders have 10. Our sack attack brought to you by Purelay. Earlier tonight, Tim Cheatwood got to Henry Burris, and right now this Ticat defense is going to have to hold. 13 minutes to go. You have a feeling the Stampeders, after that last offensive series, finally finding a way to explode. They have the rhythm with them. Jermaine Copeland in motion. Burris on a great play action to Rambo again. Well, Henry Burris has the benefit this year of having a guy who everyone around here loved for so many years. Danny McManus is his backup.
He's taught me so much. I mean, I've always looked for the opportunity to have a guy that I could learn from as far as who's been out there in the game. You know, I had Jeff and Dave Dickinson back in the day, but that's so far removed. And now to have a guy like Danny Mack, who to me, he still should be a starter in this league somewhere. I mean, the guy, to me, is one of the best gunslingers I've ever seen in football, period, as a quarterback, whether it's NFL, CFL, whatever league. I mean, the guy is phenomenal.
Well, he was a gunslinger, no question. That Danny McManus was never afraid to put it up and never afraid to take a chance during a game. And wonderful person, wonderful guy. And you know, listen,
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and when you look at all-time passers, look where he is, number 2 on the list. So for Henry Burris, you know, Henry hasn't you know, had this for a little bit in his career, certainly not in Saskatchewan. And then when he comes over to Calgary, I think this is just a wonderful situation for him.
And Danny Mac hasn't done that for a while as well. Chart plays and have the headset on.
And you know what? I know he's very comfortable with it because Hank is, you know, Hank's such a quality guy. That makes a difference.
Burris stands in. Here comes the rush. Adriano Belli chases him out of bounds. But Henry Burris, again, evading the pressure.
Well, he has done such a good job of that this season. And when we talked to Kavis Reed, the defensive coordinator of Hamilton, before the game, he said, you know what, this is what he does exceptionally well and has done so well this year. Buy himself some extra time. Now, he's still trying to desperately throw the football, but when there are no options finally available, he picks up the first down on his own. And, you know, that's the little intangible that the great running quarterbacks, and I mean running to throw quarterbacks, are able to do.
The 1st and 10, fakes the pitch, gives it inside. Nice play to Kenyon Rambo, but nothing there as the Ticats converge. Rambo and Cheatwood doing a little chirping here. Danny McManus, for what he did in 1999, the Grey Cup here, most outstanding player. You talk about the connection with Darren Flutie. He and Darren Flutie racked up a lot of yardage through the years.
Well, they sure did. They were a wonderful combination. You know, we talk about the connections promotion that's going on right now in every city. This was a pretty good connections right there.
And making the connection. Cholesterol awareness campaign, and Danny McManus part of that. He and Darren Flutie honored for the game. Out of bounds goes Burris. So that will bring out Sandro DeAngelis, make it a 4-point game if he can connect.
Yeah, who had a rarity tonight after 16 straight. Sandro missed one.
You know, a great story about Sandro DeAngelis back in 1994 when Danny McManus was playing in a Grey Cup, actually. DeAngelis won a punt, pass, and kick competition. He was 13 here in the Hamilton area. He beat all the other kids in Canada, got a chance to go to the Grey Cup. And look at this, years later, going to Nebraska, of course. And he really wanted to play here in Hamilton. Gave them a call, but the coaches here said no. He ends up in Calgary. He loves coming back to Iberwin. And he does a lot of that. So Sandro DeAngelis, the CFL's leading point getter, puts his team up by 4. In 10, Calgary Stampeders, in what has not been a classic by any stretch. One of those nights. They keep booting it to Corey Holmes. Holmes trying to find a seam. Will bring it up to the 38-yard line. So Joe Paupau's upstairs, and you know, their offense has been maligned, and they're not doing anything to improve that tonight.
Well, I mean, there you see it. In 4 games, only 4 touchdowns. That's a tough way to win football games. And I guess the most telling stat is only 15 points a game. I mean, that is, you're not going to win a lot of CFL games at only 15. And so far tonight, with 10 minutes to go, they're still 5 points away from their average.
And that really, you know, when you think about it, in many ways spelled Greg Marshall's doom. The inability of the offense that they spent so much energy on in the offseason to revamp things. Vaughn, a bad pass from Jason Moss. Jason Moss just has not been able to find his groove in a Hamilton Tiger Cat uniform.
No, he hasn't. And you know, I've said quite consistently that I think, although he's 19 for 26, pretty good numbers, you know, average-wise, percent-wise, I think they've got to go deep. I mean, the defensive backs of Calgary are being very aggressive, and Moss was quoted as saying this week that, you know, my problems right now are throwing deep. I'm just not able to do it. And he said this is uncharted waters for me because throughout my whole career I've thrown deep very, very well. But, you know, for the most part, I can only think of maybe a couple of times when he's aired it out tonight. And I just think teams are sitting on his receivers.
Look out here. He is hammered. The catch is made at midfield by DJ Flick. And Moss took a lick that time.
Well, he hung in to deliver that football, and Flick worked his way open out on the sidelines. And Flick has really been the only guy to go downfield tonight. I mean, this ball is thrown about 20 yards over the line of scrimmage. Boy, and Tony Tiller's licking his chops. You know, he comes on the halfback blitz.
Left. Fourth quarter. Another
ball here, sir, please.
Penalty flag. Busiest guy in Ivor Stadium tonight, without a doubt, is number 28, Andre Proulx.
He's going to need hauls after this game.
Yes.
Procedure. Hamilton, number 11, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Boy, 24 penalties. I mean, that is goodness gracious. And, you know, the game's tough enough at 1st and 10, but, you know, how many times tonight has Hamilton been in 1st and 15 situations through offside procedure, time count? And, I mean, those are mental things that somehow you've got to correct.
Terry Vaughn to the right of Moss. The shovel to Holmes. Corey Holmes scoots for a first down.
And I like that misdirection roll to the wide side of the field where you've got your trips receivers and then just you got Holmes going to the outside. Here's Holmes right here, and then he doubles back and takes the pitch. I mean, that is some creativity that we haven't been seeing much of this year. There it is right there. Backside, you get the lead blocker, George Hudson, out in front. That is a good-looking play. Where have they been?
Wes Lysak making the tackle. On 1st and 15, they convert. Down from the 42. Moss has to roll in a hurry. Making the catch is Kamal Peterson. Looks like he gets about 4 or 5 on that play. Just seems like a lot of the plays, though, that we've done a couple of games now, they're little out patterns, little curl patterns that aren't even stretched for 10 yards, and they're a lot of second down plays, whether it's second and short or second and long.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Hamilton tonight, how many times have they really been in second and short situations? Very few, and yet Calgary has been in quite a few of those and just has 14 points. I think that is a real difference between these teams.
Quads on the left side of Moss. Goes right for a flick, and there's an interference call. And that will move the football. It's Kobe Reinhardt who grabbed the jersey of DJ Flick as he was going by, and that will most certainly go against Calgary.
Well, DJ Flick is a legitimate 4'2", 40 sprinter. He's got some wheels. And he faked into the post and went back to the outside. Probably Kobe Reinhardt made a smart play because Flick was going to be gone. And again, you know, see what happens. Sometimes good things happen when you air the ball out. And I think Jason Moss has to do this more.
Getting inside the red zone now. They've had some trouble this year. They've had trouble scoring in the second half. Out in the flat, Terry Vaughn. Vaughn dancing. Close to a first down.
But again, the good thing on this play is, you know, he doesn't really break the tackles. He does a lot of dancing, but, you know, he gets 8 yards. And that's, we just talked about first down production and putting yourselves in good situations. That's a lot of work by Terry Vaughn to get 8, but it's a good 8.
It also ties him for number 1 with Darren Flutie. The next one, and you have to think it's going to come here tonight, even immediately. Gets a standing ovation.
But again, I doubt that Terry Vaughn's thinking about it or thinking about it this way, but in this kind of a game where you trail by 4 and you're trying to get off the snide, it might be kind of nice to break the record with a touchdown.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, he's done it for so many years and continues to do it tonight. 9 catches, 80 yards.
And again, they're at the 15-yard line, so it's reasonable to think that he could.
It'll be 2nd and 3 and another injury Raheem Abdullah again on the field. 7 minutes to go, and a lot of the players starting to cramp up a little bit here tonight. I wonder if that's the situation for Abdullah.
It's more like a knee issue.
Yeah, it is
at this stage. But
well, this has been the busiest guy on the field. Terry Vaughn for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, he's hadn't had a lot of yardage tonight, but he's made a lot of catches. Good catches, like that one right there. It's a pretty exciting thing. Terry Vaughn with an illustrious career, consistent career, very durable receiver. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That's a pretty nice pack.
You know, he's not only been a durable, solid receiver, he's also pretty much won everywhere he's played, in Calgary, in Edmonton, Montreal. He's been in so many Grey Cup games, has won twice. Abdullah is up and on the sidelines. So the next catch for number 2 will make him number 1. Holmes, look out here, Corey Holmes, touchdown, Hamilton. Corey Holmes danced to the end zone. He's the only one dancing right now. And are they happy to have him back?
Well, the trade was made. Saskatchewan wanted Kerry Joseph in the dispersal draft. They didn't feel they'd get a shot at him, so they were willing to give up Corey Holmes to the Tiger Cats. And Corey Holmes, I mean, what a beautiful run that was, and I guess it just, to me, always begs the question, why has he not been doing this more in this game? Because his feet were so quick when he got at the line of scrimmage and through the line of scrimmage. I mean, that was just an amazing run.
Ron Lancaster wanted that football for one reason. That's Corey Holmes' first touchdown as a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Now, that's a good thing. I mean, watch Holmes here. When he gets to the point of attack along the left side, let it go, because here it is. Hesitate, hesitate. Now, the footwork to get to the outside and get to full speed in 2 steps was amazing. And again, I'd sure like to see more of that. That's a great run. The Ticats have the lead back.
Well, the people in Saskatchewan know how important he was to the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders are also struggling out of the gate this year.
Can I tell you, in the bigger picture, why he's important too? He's a real character guy in the locker room as well, and that counts for a lot.
These guys, the linemen have no idea.
Well, they don't
have
know
no idea.
They don't have a dance. They square dance or something. They can't do that stuff.
Corey Holmes. Well, remember last year how he started the year in Saskatchewan. First time he touched the ball, took a kickoff back. Electrifying player and showing signs of the kind of player he was last year in Saskatchewan. And big touchdown right now. Puts Hamilton in front 17-14. And this is not a good scene. This is Cam Yao being loaded up into an ambulance. We saw the problems he was having earlier with his shoulder. Again, we'll try to get an update here from John Liu, but he was in real distress on the field at one point. Seemed to be having some breathing problems, so he is still being attended to and being carted off. Away in the stretcher, J.R. Ruffin. Mark Myers, high kick. Ruffin fielding it. Finds some room, and Mark Myers makes his first tackle, but not out of bounds. But there was a flag back at the 40-yard line. So the new guy getting involved.
Well, he's had good kickoffs too. They've been nice and deep, but the ball will come back, even though it was a nice 63-yard return by J.R. Ruffin.
Now, the last time these two teams met, remember, came down to the guy
Calgary 45, 10-yard penalty, first down.
with the toe, Sandro DeAngelis. You know, again, as crazy as it sounds, it might come down to a last-second field goal here tonight. 6:17 to go. It might be DeAngelis. It also could be the new guy.
You see, those are huge penalties. I mean, it goes 10 back, you had 63. It's like a 73-yard penalty, the net. And, I mean, at 6 minutes to go, you trail. I mean, penalties just, when you go and look at the box score of this game, you're going to focus in and say, whoa, these teams make a lot of mistakes.
Burris has been able to march his team when they have been backed up. To the flat. Kenyon Rambo again. He's been able to get his team out of some holes and does it again.
Well, the Ticats just really turned him loose on the outside. It was just a matter of would Burris be able to find him, because the closest guy to Rambo when he caught the football was the middle linebacker, Bobby Brooks, and that's not the way it's supposed to be covered.
Again, there haven't been a lot of points put up tonight, especially after what Calgary did to Saskatchewan last year. But Henry Burris has done a really good job of moving his team from his 20-yard line to the opposite territory. Reynolds hammering for 5 or 6. Don't forget, this is just the beginning. Second game coming up. Chris Cuthbert, Glenn Suter standing by. Those Rough Riders and the BC Lions up next. Should Calgary lose this game, BC win, there's a tie for first in the West. There could be another team, Saskatchewan, if you look at it, the way things have been going and all the off-field troubles as well. I think, you know, as much attention that was paid here to Greg Marshall and the Ticats in their struggling start, another player on the field, Devontae Peterson. I think you're going to have to start looking at Saskatchewan as well, and you know the heat is on Danny Barrett and Roy Shivers.
Well, I don't think there's any question the heat is on. I mean, they got the guy they wanted. They got Kerry Joseph, who they felt could be the consistent quarterback to get them truly in the hunt. There's no question this is their year.
Kind of funny, isn't it? Kind of funny how, you know,
I mean, in their year, I mean, they've got a year.
But Kerry Joseph and all the stuff that happened here. Danny McManus going to Calgary, the good start for the Stampeders. But Jason Moss, they get him here. They struggle out of the gate. Kerry Joseph struggles out of the gate in Saskatchewan. And, you know, that happens certainly with quarterbacks coming to new teams as Peterson is up.
Especially with only 2 preseason games.
Big factor, huh?
Yeah, I think it is, because you can't replicate game conditions in practice. I don't care what they say. It's impossible, because the intensity level, the adrenaline's not running. I mean, some guys with adrenaline may be a half step faster. So, you know, sometimes for quarterbacks changing teams, it just doesn't happen overnight.
5 minutes to go. 2nd and 4. And guess what? The nylon comes out again.
Calgary 66, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Boy, oh boy, you know, we've said this how many times tonight. You get, you know, Calgary's in good situation. We got 2nd and 3, and all of a sudden, back 2nd and 8.
You know, 2 guys have been very quiet in this second half, Elijah Thurman and Jermaine Copeland. Do they try to spring these 2 guys here? 2nd and 9. Burris in the pocket. Over the middle is Lewis. And what a clutch reception at the perfect time.
Well, this is pretty interesting. Sandy Beveridge knocked down Jermaine Copeland right into Nick Lewis, who had to make the catch and hop over him all in one motion. So you'll see it, Ray, the crossing routes in the middle of the screen. Copeland goes down, and Lewis goes right over the top of him to make the catch.
You know, as quiet as Thurman and Copeland have been, that's the great luxury of having a receiving core like that. Other guys can pick you up, like Nick Lewis. Like Kenyon Rambo, like Marcus Howell. Again to the sideline, and there is Jermaine Copeland.
Boy, an interesting formation, double tight ends and only 3 receivers out, and Jermaine Copeland working to the outside, and watch as he just comes, I mean, but it's the play action that really influences this, because you got double tight ends and lots of room to the outside. But again, with the double tight ends, you get maximum protection, and Henry Burris just sat tall, and nobody even close to being in his face.
Thurman is wide to the left side of Burris. Reynolds in the backfield. Stampeders still moving the football. Joffrey Reynolds plows for another first down.
Well, with the double tight ends, you expect them to run, and they do in this case. Last time they threw, so really trying to keep everybody off balance. Watch Jay McNeil. You get a block back here. Watch as he leads straight up to the hole. This is pretty. Love to watch those guards pull, and he comes out. He picks up Bobby Brooks in the middle and pushes him back. And again, your running play, 9 yards on first down. Very productive.
Yep, they're 1 yard shy. 3-minute warning on the field. 17-14 Hamilton. Into here. Can the Hamilton Tiger Cats get their first win of the season and their first for Ron Lancaster in his second coming as head coach? 2nd and 1 for Henry Burris. Play action to Reynolds. James Cotton giving chase. There's a first down, and Burris slides in for a first down.
Well, and this is the beauty of Henry Burris, because he's got lots of pressure. James Cotton really doesn't take the fake inside. Burris wants to throw the football, but excellent coverage, and he has to use his feet to pick up the first down. But again, James Cotton, oh, so close. He wasn't fooled at all. However, Burris, with his speed, just able to run away. 2 weeks ago, these two teams played a very sloppy, turnover-filled game that ended up in a thriller. Last-second field goal. 2:28 to go. Stamps down by 3. And 1st and 10. And Burris hangs on. And that's the kind of night it's been here. And I think you pegged it early on about the humidity. You played in weather like this and how difficult it can be to hang on to the football at times. The biggest thing I really believe is coming from the center. I mean, the center is perspiring like crazy, and he's dripping right down on the ball. All of a sudden, you know, it comes up. Now, when he faked to Joffrey Reynolds there, he touched it into the jersey. The jersey's soaked, and, you know, I'm not surprised.
Big play here. 2nd and 12. 2 minutes to go. Burris on an out pattern. Kenyon Rambo wasn't ready for it. And so that means Sandro DeAngelis will have to come on to tie the ball game.
Well, again, plenty of time for Burris to throw here. Good protection up front from his crew. He steps up, and Rambo just, you know, he threw it behind him. These two have had some communication challenges this year.
Well, here comes Sandro DeAngelis, the kid from Niagara Falls down the road. Grew up a Hamilton Tiger Cat fan. Broke the Ticats' hearts a couple of weeks ago. This kick is up. And right through again. He is almost automatic, isn't he? Something else. 17 all here in Hamilton. Here's John Liu.
Well, guys, the Calgary Stampeders linebacking core right now is being held together with paper clips and staples. Cam Yo, who was a reserve linebacker, has been taken to the hospital. His neck was immobilized in a collar. EMS workers are saying that he felt tingling in his shoulders and neck, but they're not quite sure what it is. But there is a little bit of concern that this may be more than just a little stinger. As for Brian Clark, he injured one of his femurs, a thigh bone. He was taken to the dressing room, will not return to the game either. So, second busiest person in Ivor Wynne tonight, Stampeders doctor. Guys.
All right, thank you, John. Best wishes to Cam Yo. And now here we go, the final 2 minutes. Sandro DeAngelis. Rory Holmes reversing field to his 35. And now Jason Moss, the guy who pulled off a lot of heroics for the Edmonton Eskimos last year's playoffs. A great last 2-minute player, if you will, a guy who could pull his team from defeat to victory. Can he do that to his team and get them the first win this year?
Well, he's completing a lot of balls tonight. I mean, his percentage is high, his yardage isn't phenomenal, but certainly from their own 36-yard line with 1:52 to go, it's plenty of time to at least get them into range. And wouldn't it be ironic if Mark Myers, the young rookie kicker, has an opportunity to try to win this game for his new team.
And there it is. Terry Vaughn is now the all-time CFL receptions leader. Terry Vaughn is the new king.
So here it is. The all-time leader. It's being announced to the crowd here, and then once again it's the same screen to Terry Vaughn, the inside receiver, block up front on George Clark. And again, Terry Vaughn has done a lot of work running the football for not a lot of yardage on these plays, but nevertheless, there it is on the scoreboard. The CFL all-time reception leader.
973 and counting. 10-catch night for Vaughn. Little slant-in pattern. Terry Vaughn now #1 all-time. Head of Darren Flutie.
Who you say is in the house tonight?
Apparently again for that promotion with Danny McManus. So the football is being handed over to Terry Vaughn, and he'll go with it for a while. And here we go. Another first down for the Ticats.
Well, that was a great play by Brock Ralph. When he caught the football, he was about 2 yards short, and he just rolled until he was touched. So they get the initial first down, 1:27 to go. And we don't know a whole lot about Mark Myers to know what kind of range he has. We watched him in the warm-up, and he was close to 50 yards.
With some room. Minute 10 to go. Vaughn in and out of his hands.
But they are in love with this play tonight. Terry Vaughn's caught a lot of balls on these quick screens to the inside receiver.
Again, he's had 10 catches for 84 yards, the longest a 24-yarder. So averaging about 8 yards a catch. A number of them have been in the flat.
Well, there you see.
Terry Vaughn now #1 overall. Moss in some trouble. Lets it go. And a flag on the play. Some roughing in the backfield. Jason Moss got rocked. We'll see if it was a hit on the quarterback or a holding call.
Well, the Calgary players are putting the hands on the head, so it sounds like it may be going against them. If you look at Scott Coe, although that's never really a great indicator.